Welcome. This is the apostate prostate, together with David Wood. What's up, David Wood?
The woodpecker, ho ho!
The woodpecker.
David Woodpecker.
Oh, it's the funniest thing I've heard in my entire life. Very, very good humor by the Muslims. David, what's up? What are you doing?
Yo, how you doing? Just sharing this link real quick on Twitter. We're
Good.
live explaining why the UK definitely needs Sharia to help old people.
Cross the road.
That's
All
how
right,
this-
David.
Yeah.
We want to talk about the lost case of the United Kingdom. Yeah, what do you have to say about this?
All I can say is, in the words of Will Smith in iRobot, sometimes I told you so, just don't quite cut it. Can you imagine? You're talking like 2007, 2008. There's a couple of us, I mean, saying, guys, this is what's going to happen. This is what's going to happen. Watch out. Watch what's going to happen. Now, every single thing we said was going to happen all around the entire world is happening exactly as we said it would. And everyone has said, no, you're liars. You're all around. You're bigots. You're Islamophobes. If we say this is going to happen and then it happens, but we were idiots for saying it's going to happen, what does that mean when it actually happens exactly the way we said it was going to happen? Kind of makes you the idiot, doesn't it? I don't think that Europe is going to fall to Sharia. I think it's basically they're getting past the time where they could have dealt with it peacefully. And I think eventually people will rise up and they'll vote for leaders who are going to do what they want. And it's basically once they realize there's just I can't put up with this anymore, and it is going to be far more difficult to leave this country to my kids. That would be worse, just leaving things as it is than doing some sort of uprising. But anyway, we tried to deal with it peacefully as long as possible, and now you're getting to the point where you're not going to be able to deal with it peacefully, and you're going to people, it's going to be horrible. But I think people are going to eventually say no. It's just going to be really messy.
This is footage directly from London from the protests. As you can see, a regular pro-Palestine protest with different flags, and here is a black flag featuring the Shahada. Of course, the ridiculous thing that happens is when some people say, hey, there is a terrorist flag, there is a jihadist flag here in the middle of a protest. What is happening? The police and some others come out and say, oh, yeah, no problem, not a big problem, because it's only the Shahada that is on there. That's what they say. I grew up in an environment and in a family where a black flag with a Shahada was very much known as a flag of jihad, or a flag of the, picking up the fight for Allah and all of that. Terrorist organizations around the world don't just by coincidence choose black flags with the Shahada on them in different forms. Al-Qaeda used this specific flag. Al-Qaeda used different variations of it. ISIS used a similar flag where it was where there was a seal instead of this. It looked significantly more ugly, but various terrorist organizations around the world have used those same flags. Like ISIS, for example, used this one here, which looks relatively ugly. It says La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. Just doesn't look quite as nice as this one here does, which is a very beautiful flag for jihad. When the objection here is, oh guys, calm down, it's just the Shahada on there, it's just the acknowledgement of the faith, that you are a Muslim. Sorry, but that's a terrible excuse. That's just like saying if Nazis walked down the street with their Nazi flags, and you objected to those, and then they came out and said, oh, relax guys, relax, that symbol is just an ancient Hindu symbol, and it actually stands for peace. It's pretty much that very same thing. It doesn't matter what the symbol stands for. What matters is that the very specific flag that we have here is one that incites and glorifies violence, and anything and everything that is basically contrary to the values of the land that it is being flown in. Like here in the UK, an actually officially Christian country that is against things like Islamization, against authoritarianism, against oppression, and all of that. And in the middle of this actual Christian country, which is actually contrary to America, it is actually officially a Christian country. Here in the middle of it, you bring a jihad flag and wave this jihad flag, and the police are like, I don't know, this doesn't look like a big problem here. I'm sorry, but when that is happening here, it looks like it's a little bit late, mate. You know.
We all know what it means, even to say there's no God but Allah, and Muhammad is a messenger, and so on. We know what these things are connected to. We know what all these protests are connected to, and so on. And it's just amazing that in the same exact country where you can go down waving this flag, if you go down, if you were waving a UK flag there, they'd cops would come after you for being racist. If you sing a Christian hymn, walking down the street here, police are going to come after you. How dare you sing a Christian hymn? You're only allowed to do that outside of church. If you're a woman praying near a Catholic woman praying near an abortion clinic, you don't have to say a word to anyone. You don't have to interfere with anyone. If you're just praying within a certain distance of an abortion clinic, they'll come and arrest you. So yeah, it looks pretty bad.
That reminds me of this footage here, actually.
Anything racist.
So here it says, flying an English flag in England, according to the London police, it might be racist and could lead to an arrest. The world is upside down. Let's have that here.
For the moment, anything racist or even close to racism is said. Hang on, let me finish. For the moment, anything gets anything close to that, all right? People are going to start getting arrested. It's just a verbal warning.
A pro-Palestine rally, and here they are flying the flag of the PFLP. The PFLP is a Palestinian Arab communist terrorist organization that is recognized as a terrorist organization that has committed terrorist attacks and that also participated in the October 7 attacks recently, together with Hamas and with Islamic Jihad. And this is completely fine. Apparently, you can do these things, you can fly these flags, but hey, don't come with anything that might appear racist, like for example an England flag. It's just insane, man.
Pretty dumb.
Here is London Todihan's Metro Police UK, who are supposed to be impartial, wore boycott Israel stickers, whilst jihadis stormed around central London unchallenged with ISIS flags, says it. I'm not entirely sure about this footage here, but it seems it's authentic, where this police officer here, look at this police officer is actually wearing a boycott Israeli apartheid sign on his whatever you call it, on his coat, on his jacket. This is the police. This is a police officer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, watching over the protesters and actually wearing a boycott Israeli apartheid sign here. Obviously, it has nothing to do with the guy's religion, as you can see. But this is just how it is in the UK nowadays. I don't know. It seems a little bit messed up how what the UK has become. Earlier, I saw an advisor of the police in London advocate for or agree with Hizb ut-Tahrir, which is the Islamist organization that was recently banned in the UK for advocating for jihad and for establishing a caliphate and so on. It's such weird but terrible stuff is going on because the English have kind of adopted this whole idea that it is virtuous, that it is good to be as tolerant as possible and as open as possible to people who are different, including people who hate you and who want to change the way you live and to possibly also want to kill you. It is insane. This is simply an insanity. Yeah, the title of the chapter here that they are talking is literally how can we reestablish the Khilafah, the caliphate.
Good luck with that.
And the aim of a caliphate is not just to have Islamic legislations in a certain place. The aim of the caliphate is to have Islamic rule and to spread Islamic rule, to be to fight for Allah and to spread Islam to neighboring people by invitation or by force. And these are not my words, these are words of Islamic scholars, of Islamic historians, and so on. Very easy read on this is Ibn Khaldun in his book Muqaddimah, I believe. He mentions how this is a duty of the caliphate is to spread the religion always and to uphold Islam and to spread it by diplomacy or by force. That's what the caliphate is. Let's see what they say.
Even forget about Muslims in the West. How can we, re-establish the Khilafah again?
So there are three methods.
You can't, dummy. No, that's a Humpty Dumpty situation. It's like hey, we dropped the egg on the ground, it spilled, it broke all to pieces. How can we put it together? You can't put it together. You guys have too much uncontrollable division. You could get some limited caliphate like ISIS did and so on, but you are not going to get your real caliphate back.
You do some grassroots dawah, you awaken the community, you awaken the ummah, but really you seek power from a select group of elite who will give you nusra, and then you do maybe something like, but not restricted to a military coup takeover. Done.
Yeah.
Then you have our brothers who, I don't like this term, they are what you would call from the jihadi spectrum. They say that no, we cannot seek nusra because they are taghut and the army are taghut. We have to take it by force.
Yep.
We have to establish Islam by force.
Yeah.
Then there are those who, even though this movement has developed through the time, they say, well, hold on here. We need to deal with the means that we have, with the mechanisms that we have. And it is a gradual process, which inshallah, once we work on it slowly, Allah will give us victory. And maybe this is something that will not happen overnight.
Yeah.
Then there are those who say, so this is not necessarily...
How Allah will give us victory?
I don't know.
Allah will send an angel, or Al-Mahdi will come.
So and beep, and the angel will beep for us.
Worthy of Allah's victory,
yeah.
And it will only come when Imam Mahdi will come.
Yeah.
So all of these.
Okay, so let's go back. Number one would be to basically go the path of Hizb ut-Tahrir. Hizb ut-Tahrir is the organization that says we should work toward establishing a consensus and having more and more people through diplomacy and all of that convinced that we mean well and that they need Sharia, improve the numbers, spread Islam, and once we are in a position to do it, we want to implement Sharia, and once we are at that point, people have to simply obey, otherwise Islamic law will be implemented, which will be bad for those who do not accept it.
Who will give you nusra, and then you do maybe something like...
Nusra means help, support, assistance. So you seek through making connections. This is talking about the methods of Hizb ut-Tahrir, making connections with elite people. You then implement Sharia slowly through that. So it's pretty much a sneaky, deceptive way of operating and trying to change the country into a Sharia.
And by the way, notice all of these, it's all the same goal, like control the world and control what everyone else is allowed to do and to say. You just have different views on how you do it. Do we do it the slow way? Do we do it the fast way? Do we do it by bloodshed? Do we do it just by and migrating to an area and continually reproducing and so on? But you're talking about, it's like, hey, here are 5 different ways that we're all obsessed with controlling what you can do and how you live and how you can dress and how you can, how you eat and everything else. We want to control your entire life. We're absolutely obsessed with it. With that said, we've got some variation within our position onto how exactly we're going to make you obey Islam, even if you don't believe in it.
Would call from the jihadi spectrum. They say that no, we cannot seek Nusra because
We've got our gangsters.
we have to take it by force.
So he's saying the army is Taghut. It's armies follow falsehood, states follow falsehood. We have to implement Sharia by force through jihad. He also talks of these people as brothers, by the way. So let's be respectful of the jihadi brothers who believe in implementing it by force, fighting it, overthrowing the government, and so on. So here's actually where you see the true face of these Islamists who pretend to be, who call you an Islamophobe, but then who respectfully talk about those jihadis who just want to fight and through violence overthrow governments and implement jihad.
And keep in mind,
Sharia.
and keep in mind, I'm not talking about all Muslims, but all of these guys, the Dawah guys, these guys who want Sharia and so on, they are all completely in favor of executing you and executing me. And they will acknowledge it. They will usually acknowledge it nowadays. They wouldn't acknowledge it 8 years ago. It was too inconvenient. Now they've gotten to a point where they can openly acknowledge that they want to execute apostates, blasphemers, all of this stuff, critics of Islam. So they want us all executed. And yet, you're right. These are the same guys who, when we say we don't want to be executed, we'll say, "Oh, you're Islamophobes for not wanting to be publicly executed by a bunch of morons."
Only an Islamophobe would not want to be executed under Sharia.
I think you're going to see a swing more in the jihadist direction as far as how you're going to go about things. Because if you're a Muslim in the UK or in France or in Germany, you're looking at this saying, things are looking pretty good the way we're going. We just keep multiplying. We keep bringing in more, keep multiplying, bringing in more. And eventually, if we have enough, after a couple decades, we'll completely take over and we'll control this place and we can enforce Sharia. So as the people in Europe are saying, are thinking to themselves, well, it looks pretty good how we're going about these things. But there is this issue of you have a simultaneous upswing in apostasy rates, and you're looking at the Muslim world and seeing Islam crumbling in the Muslim world from within. And so you say, hey, even though it looks like it might be good to just take over slowly, it's not going to work if by the time we're taking over Germany slowly, Saudi Arabia is like Germany used to be. You know what I mean? It doesn't work. So they've got multiple concerns in the world, but I think they're all going to go into like full panic mode.
I kind of feel like in the UK it's already too late, and the UK still is not waking up. Like in Germany, for example, the reaction is much stronger to Islamization attempts, where in the UK it is still very slow and still very soft and stupid, to be very honest. But whatever, let's see.
Yep.
We have to establish Islam by force.
Yeah.
It will only come when Imam Mahdi will come.
Yeah.
So
all of these groups that you just mentioned, so the number 3 would be one that is slowly, patiently working toward improving and spreading Islam, and then hoping to get into a position where they can finally implement and enforce Sharia. And then number 4, he says, would be the group that is just says, we are not worthy, and they will be waiting for the Mahdi and all of that, for the end time things to happen, where then Sharia will be implemented. So all of these believe in one way or another in forcibly implementing Sharia in the end and making sure that you follow and obey, or else.
Here's what's really amazing here is these guys in Western nations can sit there and calmly, openly discuss how they're going to conquer, which method is going to be most effective in conquering the nation that they live in and subjugating it to Islam. And it's totally fine. And not only is it totally fine, if you have any objection to this and say, no, I don't want you guys, I think you guys are backwards morons. I don't want you telling me what to do. I don't want to be under the control of you. You're the last people in the world I would want calling the shots as far as what I am and am not allowed to do. Mainly because you would execute me, and probably like 90% of my friends would all be executed by you guys. And if we have a problem with these guys running things or planning to run things, we're the bad guys. That's how screwed up people's mentality is right now. We're the bad guys here. These guys, you could take You could take almost any journalist in the West, sit them down to watch this right now. Watch these guys talking about how we, including the journalists, are going to be subjugated and have Islamic law imposed on us. And when we say, no, we don't want to be run by these guys, we would be the bad guys in the eyes of that journalist. And that journalist would write an article, Islamophobic bigots and their anti-Muslim tirade. It's pretty pathetic.
Because of sensitivity, let us not mention certain groups. Okay. So,
Alhamdulillah.
Because of sensitivity, we don't want to cross any legal boundaries in what we're discussing.
What?
Or maybe the military elite.
The military elite.
Yeah. As one example.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. The military elite. So, and then after that, what will happen?
We will remove the head of the state.
How?
The apparatus.
We will remove the head of the state.
So there is a bullet.
This is obviously there is a maslaha calculus with regards to if it is a case that we have to remove an obstacle for a greater good.
Yeah, so there is a bullet.
There is a bullet, yes.
There is a bullet.
Yes.
And the other method...
There could be a bullet.
And there is no other way. Okay. If it cause a coup, yeah, there will be...
We've had bloodless coups before, Sheikh. We've had coups where we've had people dying. Once you realize that the power has overpowered them, people sometimes put their guns down.
Okay. Yeah, and you like what happened.
Listen to what these guys are just casually talking about here, man. Look at this now. Islamic Empire, which, as we have almost always had throughout the 1,400 years of Islam, the Islamic Empire stands here and is ruled by the Islamic Caliphate, which imposes the Islamic truth, the supremacy of Islam onto everything everything that it can possibly dominate, and it's always at war. As Islamic scholars have agreed throughout history, an Islamic empire should strive through spreading Islam through contract or through war, if contract doesn't work. So let's imagine this scenario: an Islamic empire exists. Next to it, a tiny country says, "Hey, we accepted Islam before, but we don't really want to abide by that right now anymore. So forget about Islam. From now on, we will open gay clubs here. People will dance around. Will be gay. Will be naked, and this will all be approved by us in the name of tolerance and whatever. And you should just keep out of that." What would the Islamic Empire do in that position as a reaction?
It would invade. It would invade, and I conceded that at the beginning. I said that there's force, and there's a good reason for the benefit of those people.
So you heard that, right?
Yeah.
And
people, I don't know how you can get these points across to people, to college students and so on. Like, your average stupid college student thinks that these guys chanting "from the river to the sea," they're just against oppression. No, they're against anyone else doing the oppression besides them. That's what they're against. They want to be the oppressors, and anyone who says no, they view as oppressors and they view as bad guys. Yeah, so I don't know what to do here.
Yeah, I must say that Black Angel is pointing out that General Kikichi will have to invade Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, they will very soon.
Invade Saudi Arabia because Saudi Arabia is getting out of control, man.
They're legalizing alcohol. They are having again Iggy Azalea and Nicki Minaj and Metallica and so on to concerts there, and we've seen the people at the Bikini Beach saying, "Gosh, a couple years ago we couldn't even listen to music, and now we can do all this."
Iggy Azalea, and she is well known for selling her naked, whatever you want to call it, with the following lyrics.
Bow down to a goddess, Alat, Alusa, and Manat.
You are working with the system, and also you have put your people in the military.
Or you give dawah to the people already in the military.
Yeah, and then, okay, when they become, those people, when they accept your da'wah, and they become part of you, according to your ideology, they have to leave the military.
Or do something to bring that change.
So, which means that ultimately they have to work within the system.
To overthrow the system.
To overthrow the system.
Alhamdulillah.
To change the system.
Alhamdulillah. Beautiful. But I was just looking through his Twitter profile to look for the word Islamophobe, and then I came across this, by the way, David.
What's that? Dilly Hussein. Pearly Thing's quest for knowledge about Islam led her to an ex-Muslim and a Christian Islamophobe. That's the level of sincerity of these trad-con women in the manosphere. And what started all that, she said she heard that Muhammad had sex with a 9-year-old girl, asked about it. Everyone flipped out on her. And you replied, hey, if you want to actually see what the sources say, come over. We'll break it down to you without all the threats and so on. And notice that's horrible, according to Dilly.
Yeah.
You should only be going to Dilly with those questions so that he can lie to you.
Yeah.
Agree?
Because
they will give da'wah to people.
Yep.
They will give da'wah to the military. Let us say the military has a peaceful coup, like what happened in Mali.
Yeah.
And then that country, will it just, it is already part of the United Nations.
They will have a dastur, I'm sure, and that dastur will be according to Quran and Sunnah.
They will, Sharia. But they will be part of the United Nations, or they will tell the United Nations that we are out of United Nations.
Possibly, we don't know. These are all hypothetical scenarios. But this issue of staying with the UN or staying with NATO is neither here or there.
No. Okay, because you cannot.
This is so interesting. Like, these guys are just sitting down here and like, oh, right, let's discuss about how to how to do this. How do we do this?
How are we going to go about dividing up the women and daughters and making them our sex slaves? Well, some people say that you do it this way, and other people say you do it this way, and some people say this way. And here's how you. But at the end of the day, yes, all these girls are going to be our sex slaves.
Yeah.
Myself, especially if you are so-called Islamists, I'm announcing myself out of that.
But it could be
what? So-called Islamists.
I'm announcing myself out of that because the UK has started focusing a bit much on this. So I'm out of it, guys. Wink, 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 wink. And then if I ever go to court, look, there's a video where I said I'm out of it. See? He makes a very good and very important point. There are some people who don't take care of old people, and therefore we need Sharia to tell us to take care of old people. And so we need this system where women and girls are going to become the sex slaves of these guys, and where these guys are going to go around, chopping everyone's heads off, or criticizing Islam, or for leaving Islam, and so on. But it's a small price to pay for realizing that we need to take care of old people so well, as Muslims say they do in this video.
Let's see.
Islam, we want Sharia in the UK. We want Sharia for everybody. Do you even know what Sharia means? Huh? Do you even know what Sharia means? Yeah? You need Sharia.
Chopping people's heads off.
Dying for Sharia. You need Sharia. UK is dying for Sharia.
UK is dying for Sharia. That's the impression that I get too. UK is dying for Sharia. UK just, do you even know what that means? Yeah. Do you even know what Sharia is? Yeah.
You need Sharia. UK is dying for Sharia. You are making your elderly die at home alone. Proud of that. You flipping selfish individuals. You go on holidays and put them in care homes while they are dying. They looked after you and changed your nappies and looked after you when you was a baby. And you reach this age of materialism, and the Western propaganda has consumed you so much that you are more concerned going to Ibiza for a holiday to sleep around. Yeah? While your mother...
Who is he talking to, man?
Yeah, this is something they do. They'll just, hey, if there's someone who did it, they'll say you're all doing it. It's like, oh, okay, well, I have all these articles about wealthy Sunni Saudis going around practicing mutta in war-torn areas. They go there and they rent out the little girls and so on. So, yeah, you guys are all doing it. We just say you're all doing that. Hey, Ali Dawa, why are you going around practicing mutta with all these 7-year-old girls in these war-torn areas? Because some of you are doing it, so you're all doing it, and therefore we need to destroy Islam to stop you from doing it. Look at what Islam does. It tells this guy that we are looking at right here, a person who should not be running a lemonade stand, that he is capable of running the world, according to the ramblings of an illiterate 7th century Arabian caravan robber, and convinces this guy that he should be telling the rest of us what to do, and that he should be enraged that he's not running the entire world. This moron.
Chloe L said, David, you're too optimistic. Many Europeans are too comfortable, won't join army either, won't rise up. There will be a Muslim attempt to overthrow France and Britain in around 30 years, I predict it.
Yeah, total nonsense, Chloe. This is not me being optimistic. And you're saying they're too comfortable. Yeah, that's correct. They're too comfortable. And I'm not talking about right now. I'm talking about they're about to get really, really uncomfortable. And that's when things are going to change. This is not me being optimistic. This is me being completely realistic about guess what? Genetically, these are the people who just went to massive world war a few decades ago, right? You had people we're going to take over the world and slaughter and kill everyone, right? You had people who were like that. So biologically, they're the same people. They have different ideas, and yes, they've gotten comfortable and complacent. I'm saying, as far as human beings go, you push them far enough, they will go full bloodbath mode if they have to. This is not me being this is not me being optimistic saying, oh yeah, Europeans are just going to stop. It's optimistic would have been, hey, they can do this, they can do this, and they're going to wise up, and they're going to exercise some common sense and deal with this problem peacefully. So it's actually pessimistic, being aware of human nature and how far human beings are willing to go when you push them too hard. It's very simple. You're going to keep pushing, because the Dawa guys and all their followers are much more desperate now. They're going to keep pushing harder and harder and trying to go further and further. What's going to happen? Europeans are going to put some leaders in charge who are going to have a very different view of Islam than the current leadership. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that's happening. I'm not saying that's right now. I'm not saying they're not comfortable now. I'm saying that's going to happen before they submit to Islam.
While your mother and father is dying in care homes, the Sharia teaches you to go. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said, may his face be rubbed in dust. May his face be rubbed in dust. May his face be rubbed in dust for the one his parents reach old age and it doesn't look after them. You are starving for the Sharia.
It doesn't look after him? Yeah, okay.
Bro, no, this is idiotic nonsense.
This is very cringe-worthy stuff.
You are
it's pretty bad.
You
don't know. If Islam doesn't tell you to take care of that old man, then you need Sharia, because there's no way you could know to take care of an old man. There's no way for anyone to know this unless you got Sharia. Yeah, you can be concerned about taking care of the elderly and not be in favor of chopping people's heads off. Wow.
I need to look at this a little bit more to understand the data here, but just at a rough observation, Washington Post, based on a study by Help Age International, by country, where elderly citizens are better off and worse off. You can see that in the Western world, they are generally significantly better off than in for example, in the Muslim world here, like in Afghanistan and Pakistan, it's red. It's like the worst.
Yep, it's the worst. Isn't that interesting? By the way, Pete, that's a perfect short video. You play the clip of Ali Dawa, and then you say, now let's look at the actual data. And so what he's saying is we need the ideology of Pakistan and Afghanistan, which you can see has the worst treatment of the elderly, and Western nations like the U.S. and Great Britain, which have the best treatment of the elderly, we need to adopt the worst system for taking care of the elderly, and somehow that makes things better. But guess what? That's a perfect parallel of what they're saying. They're saying, hey, look, there are problems in Western nations. Yeah, that's true. But we're still massively better off than Muslim nations. So how are we going to deal with these limited problems that we have? Oh, you need to adopt the systems of these nations that are really terrible, Sharia compliant hellholes, and use that where you at. It's like, no, we don't. That is insane. That is idiotic. But yeah, you can make a short video and just do this.
I'm looking at different data of countries ranked by quality of life for elderly people. By Global Age Watch Index, they listed 96 countries. Number 1 is Norway in terms of quality of elderly people's lives. Number 96, the last place, is Afghanistan.
So, just to be clear, the worst place for the elderly is the most Sharia compliant country that we can think of. I can't think of a more Sharia compliant country than the one governed by the Taliban. That is like supreme Sharia compliance there. And that's the worst place for the elderly on the planet.
Yeah,
and that's
yeah.
and Ali Dawa says if we want old people to be taken care of in the UK, which is among the best, we need to adopt the system of the absolute worst. That's how stupid this guy is.
Yeah, according to this data, which is from 2015, Switzerland is #1 for elderly people, and Afghanistan is last, 96. Pakistan is over here, 92. Jordan,
Lots of Muslim countries on the bottom of that list there.
Turkey, 75. Look at that. Wow, man. Switzerland is right here. Where's the UK? USA is #9. Where's the UK? I can't see the UK. Do you see the UK?
I saw the UK.
Where did you see that?
I can't.
Oh, it's right here.
Right
Okay.
there, number
okay.
10. Yeah.
It's right here. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's funny.
Not the Sharia that you think of, going and chopping people up and stuff like that.
Whoa. Did he say that's what we think Sharia is?
Let him talk.
But Sharia's really about taking care of old people. It's not about chopping people up.
Let's hear what he said. I didn't hear what he actually said.
Not the Sharia that you think of, going and chopping people up and stuff like that. This watching a slow movie.
When a Muslim says, "Hey, I'm pro Sharia," but not the Sharia that you guys are thinking of, not the Sharia that involves chopping. No. I'm for that's all wrong. I'm for this really nice Sharia. That's all a misrepresentation. There you have to think, okay, this person doesn't know about Islam, but maybe the person thinks he's speaking truthfully. Ali Dawa knows he wants to chop everyone's heads off. He knows that. He knows it's about chopping hands off, chopping heads off. He knows that. And yet he just did that. Oh, yeah, it's not what you think. It's not what you think from the movies and stuff. No. It's not about chopping stuff off. It's about helping old people. That's what we do. So this is a guy who absolutely knows he's lying and misrepresenting his religion right now.
And Imran, they believe that you should have capital punishment to apostates. And you just want Adam to be like, no, really? Bro, Adam is taking the mick out of you. This is a part of our religion. There's a reason to it. Yeah, there's a reason why there's a capital punishment, because people like you, little weaklings who leave their religion and cause corruption in the land by spreading it, the capital punishment in Islamic law would be applied to you. We have no doubt, and we're proud of that. Yeah, capital punish will be applied in an Islamic state. Yeah, not individuals going and doing it themselves like idiots. Yeah, no, under an emir, it is done. Yes, and you know what? We'll be watching. We'll be watching, because if you're going to cause corruption in the land, that's going to cause more damage to the society as a whole, because the Sharia didn't come to protect an individual's right. Hey, can I drink alcohol? Yeah.
Now hold on. I don't understand.
Sharia is pull up. Yeah, we are proud as Muslims, not the Sharia that you think of, going and chopping people up and stuff like that. This watching a store movie or something like that, for that matter. The Sharia is there to put communities.
Sharia is there to put communities.
There's a punishment in Islamic law would be applied to you. We have no doubt, and we're proud of that. Not the Sharia that you think of, going and chopping people up and stuff like that. This watching a store movie or something like that, for that matter. The Sharia leave their religion and cause corruption in the land by spreading it. The capital punishment in Islamic law would be applied to you. We have no doubt, and we're proud of that. Yeah, picking people up and yeah, we are proud as Muslims, not the Sharia that you think of, going and chopping people up and stuff like that. This watching a store movie or something like that, for that matter. Capital cause corruption in the land by spreading it. The capital punishment in Islamic law would be applied to you. We have no doubt, and we're proud of that. Yeah, capital punish will be applied in an Islamic state. Going and chopping people up and stuff like that. This watching a store movie or something like that, for that matter. The Sharia is picking people Sharia. By spreading it, the capital punishment in Islamic law would be applied to you. We have no doubt, and we're proud of that. Yeah, yeah, we are proud as Muslims, not the Sharia that you think of, going and chopping people up and stuff like that. This watching a store movie or something like that, for that matter. The Sharia.
I don't know. It seems like something is off here. Something doesn't make sense, but I can't really tell what it is.
Yeah, well, I think there's I can solve the mystery for you.
Okay, go ahead.
He's lying. So you're trying to make sense of it. You're trying to understand, wait a minute, over here, he explains what Sharia is when he's threatening an apostate. Yes, under an emir, in other words, once we have an Islamic state and an Islamic ruler, you're all dead. Apostates, blasphemers, you're all dead. We're going to chop you all up. But that's when he's talking to you and trying to threaten you. When he's talking to people and trying to convince them that Sharia is good for them, he doesn't want to say that. He wants that to be a complete misrepresentation. And so he wants to say, no, no, no. Sharia is just about helping communities and helping old people. That's what Sharia is. So he's lying. That's what you're missing, AP.
Oh, so you are saying that when he says here,
Sharia. Yeah, we are proud as Muslims, not the Sharia that you think of, going and chopping people up and stuff like that. This watching a store movie or something like.
So you are saying when he says here, not the Sharia you think of, like chopping people up, watching store movie, whatever that means. Yeah. You're saying that that here he is trying to whitewash and downplay and present as peaceful and productive the idea of Sharia, where on the other hand, in reality, when it comes down to it, he thinks that Sharia is
and cause corruption in the land by spreading it, the capital punishment in Islamic law would be applied to you. We have no doubt, and we're proud of that. Yeah, capital punish will be applied in an Islamic state. Yeah.
So now it makes sense. So he's lying here. I see.
Yeah.
So he's saying that Islam is very peaceful and Sharia is just there to take care of the elderly, take care of communities, and be very, very nice and very, very cool. But actually, what he really thinks is, if you cause corruption in the land, by leaving the religion, by saying something I don't like, then you will be killed, you will be chopped up, and we're proud of that, Huh, interesting.
And there's no mystery as to why his position is constantly changing. It's just the rules of Islam just change based on what's going on with the Muslim community, with respect to the rest of the world at any given point. You see this with Muhammad himself. When he's the persecuted prophet in Mecca, it's, hey, peace and tolerance. Yes, we'll let God judge, but let's not get to killing because we're totally outnumbered. Later on, when he has the majority, it's everyone has to submit or be executed. The message changes depending on the status of Muslims. And so if you look at the Dawah guys, go back 10 years, Islam is all about peace and tolerance. Then you get to more recently with like Andrew Tate and so on, and tolerance has gone so far that people will start looking for intolerance as a better way to go. And what happens then? Then we're going to kill you. Of course we're going to kill you. See, we're strong. We're proud of that. We're proud of that. People is going to convert because of our intolerance. He has said that before. Then you have the UK start banning Islamist organizations and so on. People are worried about Sharia. All of a sudden, no, Sharia is justice. See, Sharia is justice. It's not about chopping anything up. It's just about helping old people. That's what we're talking about with Sharia. It's all about helping the old people. Is you against helping old people? Or is you for helping? If you for helping old people, you got to be for the Sharia, because it's not about chopping people up. And it's just
Islam is flexible. It just means Islam is flexible.
Totally flexible. The dawah, it's the dawah is flexible because the dawah has always been whatever is going to work best. It doesn't matter. It's never been about truth or reality. Whatever you have to say to reach some Islamic goal, say it.
Go and conquer the adjacent country. What do? We kill them all? No. The Prophet.
Wow.
Peaceful.
Peaceful.
Just stop the video right there. See? No, we don't.
It says the first thing.
Oh wait, he's going to say more.
If they refuse, then tell them Allah obliged upon you to pay taxation. In return, when enemy comes and attack your country, you don't fight. We Muslims protect you. Subhanallah, for this.
I trust these guys to protect me.
And you enjoy sitting in your homes and in your country and live your
life
normally. But
a dream within a dream.
So you do not open nightclubs, you do not fornicate. If they refuse, then we have to fight.
We gave you two good options.
Fight you, then we capture you, you become our slaves, and we take your land, and you take because you refuse. I give you two good options.
I give you two good options.
Give you two good options.
50 years when the Muslims become strong, as they're supposed to be.
So we gave you two good options, and you refused, which is why you deserve to be enslaved and fought and killed and all that. We gave you two good options. So this is what's to put everything here into a context. Today we are talking about how these very beautiful and pleasant individuals like Ali Darwa and Dili Hussein, Five Pillars UK, together with their sheikh and all these other people, they talk about bringing back the caliphate and implementing Sharia. And if we then look at what Sharia is and what bringing back the caliphate is, it means installing Islamic law, spreading Islam through a caliphate, making it global once again. That was what the caliphate was, until the West stopped it. And that would include going to neighboring populations and telling them, you will now convert to Islam. If you don't convert, then we will fight you. Or if you don't convert, then you may become our subjects and pay protection money in exchange for your lives, and you will do whatever we say. If they refuse, then we will fight you, take your women and children as slaves, and kill you. And that's just how it is. This is the beauty of Islam, alhamdulillah. And why would European people not accept such beauty?
In fact, it is a conflict between those who worship other than Allah Jalla wa'ala and those who submit to Allah Jalla wa'ala. So it is
as clear as it gets. This guy is taking it all back to, it is a war between those who worship Allah alone and those who worship other things.
A global conflict rather than a conflict in Gaza between Palestinians and the occupation, if the word conflict is the correct word to use. So, my dear brothers and sisters, one important point of why Allah Jalla wa'ala is testing us is the fact that Allah Jalla wa'ala is preparing this ummah to be the leading nation again.
Yay, look at these guys. These guys think because they follow the most obvious false prophet in history, it's their job to control the rest of us. These guys that we're looking at right here, they get to control us.
For those who don't understand what this guy is saying here, who can't read through the language here, when this guy says
nation, that Allah Jalla wa'ala is preparing this ummah to be the leading nation again.
When he's saying that Allah is preparing this ummah to be the leading nation again, what he's saying thereby is that that soon the Muslims will once again become the strong and powerful leaders of the world, who will basically tell the world what to do, and who will carry the banner of Allah. That is what this means. They will be the leading nation. The whole idea, the whole notion of the Muslim community, the Muslim ummah, being a one nation and then being the leading nation, is a regular, traditional, mainstream Islamic idea. So this guy is not only saying that the whole conflict that is happening there is a test for the Muslims, he's saying that soon the Muslims will take over again and lead. And these people here, this Islamist preacher here, especially those people in the UK, should be watching this and should be noticing what is happening here. This guy here, who is preaching inside an Islamist organization known as Five Pillars UK, is telling the followers that are sitting there and also those who are watching that we Muslims, including those here in the UK, will do our parts in order to make the world Islamic. We will lead the nations of the world. We will establish a caliphate. We will spread Islam. We will fight the Islamophobes, those who are against Islam, those who don't want this, those who don't like the idea of a caliphate, those who don't want to convert to Islam, those who don't want people to convert to Islam, those who don't want Islam to take over. This is what is happening here. If at any point in your life you thought that there was a conspiracy for people to take over your society and to lead it into a direction and violently and in a hostile way take over and change things radically and take away your freedoms. Sorry to say, but this one is it. This is it. This is directly in front of everybody a conspiracy to do precisely that, to overthrow your way of life, to overthrow the way things are, to forcibly take away your freedoms and focus again on one thing, to implement the 7th century way of life on everybody in the world, whether you like it or not. And you heard very clearly, this includes fighting the non-Muslims, taking protection money, killing you, taking your women and children as slaves, and executing all those who leave Islam and openly speak about this. That is what this guy is saying. That is what these guys are saying. And they are speaking about all of this directly from the UK. That is what is happening here. It is as clear as it gets. As clear as it gets. If this congregation here was a congregation, a gathering of, I don't know, Nazis or something like, or white nationalists or something like that, this would be a disaster. It would be a scandal all over the Western world. Governments would crack down on it. There would be serious operations. This would be shut down. It would be talked about everywhere. They would make movies about it. They would exaggerate it so much. There would be documentaries about it. In the middle of the United Kingdom, these people announce these plans to basically overthrow your way of life, uproot everything, and in a hostile takeover, change you, whether you like it or not. This is just being tolerated. And nobody does anything about it. And if you say something about it, if you speak against it, then you are an Islamophobe. If you say something about it, then you are dangerous. Then you are a racist. Then you are a conspiracy theorist. Then you are whatever you want to call it. If you say something about this, then you are the one who is hateful. If you say something about this, then you are associated with all the negative, bad feelings, because you learned by now, it was taught to you by now, that what is virtuous on your part is to be tolerant no matter what, is to be tolerant and patient, even if these people want to overthrow you and kill you and forcibly change the way you live. This is the stupidity that we are in. And this is why, I don't know, I think that there are signs that for the UK, it is already too late to resolve things in a reasonable way. What enrages me, to be honest, when I see some people in the West, some supposedly patriotic people in the West, join with the Islamists in anti-Jewish conspiracy theories and anti-Israel things and talk trash about Israel, for example, because they are acting like there is this big Jewish agenda to take over the West and to change things totally and to make you weak and whatever it is. They're talking about these weird conspiracy theories. Meanwhile, right in front of them, it is the other guys who are fighting Israel at the moment, by the way, who openly say that they want to rule you, that they want to subjugate you, that they want to kill you if you oppose them, and that they think your system is corrupt and you should be replaced with their system. And they brag about their population and how they grow their population in order to make things happen. This is why what is happening in Israel right now is a fight between these very Islamists and the actual opposite of that, which would be civilization, which would be Western values, which would be some hope for the future of humanity. These Islamists, whether they are in the West or in Israel or the Islamic world, their aim is not to have tolerance for you and to advance society. Their aim is to subjugate you. And they make it more clear and more open as time passes by. I mean, I checked just now that German movement against the Islamization of Europe. It started in 2014. It feels like it was ages ago. It started in 2014. That was only 10 years ago. Back then, these Muslims didn't, or these Islamists didn't go around saying, "Oh, yeah, we want to change it. We want to we want to install a caliphate. We want to establish Sharia. And yes, we want to punish those who oppose. And yes, we want to enslave people. And yes, we want to kill apostates." They were not saying it. Only 10 years later, they are now openly saying it. And meanwhile, people have already gotten used to the idea that you shouldn't speak against this because then you're racist. This just reminds me of the whole Christopher Hitchens speech, which is almost prophetic, where he says that this is how they will slowly introduce the idea that opposing Islam is equal to racism, and this is how they hold open the gates and slowly take over.
Yeah, that is kind of important. That it's who's giving Westerners family advice on the significance of Sharia. It's the guy who says if his daughter gets her first period at the age of 9, he'll tell her she's ready to be married. These are the guys who want to tell us how to take care of families.
If my daughter, if my daughter wants to menstruation, hold on, let me finish. If my daughter reached the age of menstruation at 9 years old, I would say you are ready. You are ready to get married. However,
if my daughter reaches the age of, did he actually say menstruation at 9? Is that what he just said?
Age of menstruation.
At 9 years old, I will say you are ready to get married.
And what's sick there is, I mean, he says, but if she don't want to, then your eyes not gonna make her blah 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 blah. But what happens if she says, "Yeah, I want to get married"? What are you gonna do? It's illegal. So what would you do? He's openly acknowledging he would marry her off in a mosque ceremony to one of his dawah buddies, so that one of his dawah buddies can bang her. And what are they actually going to have to tell her? They're going to have to say, "Yo, if you's walking around with your new husband and the cops is eyeballing you and stuff, you's got to say that you's his granddaughter." You have what Islam teaches and what these guys actually want, what their actual goals are. So you have that, right? We were telling people about this 15 years ago. We're saying what Islam teaches and what the goals are. We were called liars and Islamophobes and bigots and so on. Now the guys are all admitting it. So there comes a point where the public catches on that it's not Islamophobic and it's not Islamophobic conspiracy nonsense to say that Islam teaches these things. People eventually find out, wait a minute, these guys are all admitting it now. So Europeans are going to find out that the people who were warning them were all correct, and that their journalists and politicians were the ones who are just making things up, right? People are going to find out the truth. The other thing is, yes, once people have reached a certain level of comfort and complacency and so on, they'll put up with a lot because they don't want to ruin their comfort level. So if you go out and start saying, "Hey, there's a problem with Islam," then there's a backlash against you. And, "Oh, that's going to mess up my comfort level. So I don't want to do that. I don't want to ruin my comfort level. So I'll just keep my mouth shut for a while." There comes a point where you realize, oh, actually, Islam is a bigger threat. The spread of Islam is a much bigger threat to my comfort level. And so I have no choice but to do it, because I'm not going to get, I don't get to just be comfortable for the rest of my life. I don't get to. They're going to subjugate me and it's going to suck. So now I have to get out of my comfort zone and do something. So that's what's going to happen.
How about no?
You can watch.
I don't buy your Ella.
We'll be watching, because if you're going to cause corruption in the land, that's going to cause more damage to the society as a whole, because the Sharia didn't come to protect an individual's right. Hey, can I drink alcohol? Yeah, sure. Drink alcohol, run someone over, kill them, set all this kind of chaos. No, Islam says the right of the community is greater than you individual wanting your right to freedom, which is BS. Absolutely BS. Yeah? Don't get me started. So
think about...
It just backfired on you.
Think about everything he just said, and if people absorbed what he just said, the right of the community. See, why do we say that the government should not be cracking down on this stuff? Because it's his right as an individual to believe these things and to say these things and to preach these things, and the government shouldn't interfere. What's he saying? The right of the community massively outweigh the right of an individual. And if something is going to cause corruption in the community, you have a right to execute a person. You can execute a person for doing something that's going to negatively influence the community. Well, who this guy wants to spread like child marriage and stuff in a community. According to his own reasoning, the community is in could say, you know what, this should be capital punishment because these ideas are bad for society and are going to cause corruption in the land.
Yeah.
But I would say that everything is the assumption that things are going to stay the way they are now. Like, how would this work if this happened right now? It's not. Look at how rapidly things are changing in Saudi Arabia. I think you're going to have Muslim nations sometime right around the corner having to drop their criminalization of apostasy. Going to happen. Watch it. In fact, you're going to have more people calling for apostasy laws here in the West from the Dawa guys than you're going to have in Muslim countries.
Stay away from Islam.
Alhamdulillah.